Get started. So SOS, if you guys, I hope that you're aware, June 4th, this Saturday, race starts at 7 a.m. and the transition opens at 6 a.m. There's the athlete's guide. It's also in your chat. Here we are. All right. Some people have been racing with us for the last few years. They've been doing SOS Cape Cod. Thank you very much. For those that are in that situation, they just want to know what the changes are for this year. I kind of have that right in the beginning, and that way, for those of you that are really familiar with this race, you can kind of get that info and go off and have dinner, and the rest of you can hang on and we'll go through maps and what have you. So packet pickup is at Trailside Dining, which is on Route 6. It's number 842. It's on your right if you're going towards Wellfleet. That's Friday, 4 to 6. We do expect people to pick up their packets on Friday from 4 to 6. It makes it easier for us. It's good for you to get your packet and then you can check things out. For those that aren't able to do that, we will have some staff available Saturday morning from 6 to 6:45. Saturday morning does get kind of crazy, and so it would be helpful for you and for us if you could pick up your packet on Friday.
And if you do have to pick it up on Saturday, you bet, please make sure you have your driver's license and a USAT card if you haven't already filled out your one-day waiver. And
so to that point, USAT just changed their the way they're handling one-day memberships. So just this year, we get to be the guinea pigs for this one. You cannot purchase a one-day at the race. Normally, if you didn't follow all of the many emails that you've received because you didn't have your USAT number yet, if you didn't follow those emails with the link, you thought, oh, no problem, I'll just do it race day and I'll just pay them my $15. They were not allowing that this year. So everyone has to have a USAT number, whether it's a one day or, renew your membership for the year. You've got to do that before the race. So if you've gotten emails, you should have gotten 3 emails by this time. The last one was probably a few days ago saying you need to add your membership, USAT membership. Please click on that. If you didn't get that, you can email Lori. Lori's going to love this because she's on this call. It's Lori, Lori, @neevents.com. Or if you go to our website and fill out the contact form, we'll make sure that that Lori gets that. With COVID still an issue around for some, we will have disposable masks if you like. You can just ask and we're happy to give those to you. Timing is not chipped with there's like 85 athletes. And with our smaller races, we have been able to avoid having to do the chip timing. We have a special timer who I think is on now. And he has a kind of a digital timing device that as you go through, you'll call out your number when you pass the T1 and then the finish line. Call out your number and they'll click their little button and you'll be all set. Anything else? You want to do the ball field since you'll be in? No
ball field.
Okay, never mind. I'll do it. So
I need better clue words.
Sorry. Usually I take over meetings if you haven't been able to tell. So I'm trying to give Andy a chance on this one. So the finish line, if you guys raced with us in 2019 and this is your first year back, then you're not familiar with finishing at the Wellfleet Elementary School. It's across the street from the elementary school. There's a ball field there. We take a little space and we have a nice little finish line there. So that's where that will be. Post-race is at Trailside Dining. It's the same place that you picked up your packet on Friday. We will have an award ceremony this year, so we're super excited about that. And our SOS New York guys are bringing the SOS podium, so we'll have an official podium.
I noticed that Don Davis is on our Zoom. He is the founder of SOS a good many years ago. We're talking about several decades at least, as well as Evan Davis, who's an important part of the both races, the SOS in New York as well as the SOS here on Cape Cod. And so we're pleased to have them, and we're pleased to have Don and Darlene visit with us this weekend and watch the race. Be sure to wave to them as you go by.
Yep, definitely. And I think Ariana, Evan's girlfriend, Ariana, thought I saw her on an email. So she's super sweet last year. So we'll have her too. All right. So, all right. If you haven't raced to SOS in the past, we'll get into more detail. Packet pickup, as I said, Friday, 4 to 6, trailside dining. Race morning, Mayo Beach, 6 to 6:45. Please come to trailside if you at all can. It will really save you and us time in the morning. All right. So that start area, you can see the red circle there. That's where we're starting at Mayo Beach. And then there's temporary parking at the pier. You'll see to the right. That is only for your support person can park there as you're getting ready to start the race, and then your car needs to move. You can't keep it there. That is a condition of our permitting.
If I can back up by an hour or so, many of you will have multiple vehicles. You might have your support person has one vehicle, but you have another vehicle or what have you. Vehicles can stay all day long at the Wellfleet Congregational Church. You can find instructions there and an address in the athlete's guide.
The next map I have, I
Oh, okay. Oh, so you've got.
I've got it.
See,
I got it.
All right, so go ahead and go.
So right, so where you can park all day long is right here. So here's the Congregational Church here. You're going to come from Route 6 over this way, and then you've got a couple of options to get over there. So we are racing below this screen over here, but the First Congregational Church isn't far from town at all. So that if you are an athlete and you're like getting a ride, somebody else is handling your support, but you have your own car, you're going to want to park your car here at the First Congregational Church in the back parking lot. So we will have a couple of people there just to make sure that you're parking in the correct church parking lot. I'd hate for you to be like, I'm not sure which church this is. So they'll just make sure you just go to the back parking lot and your car is safe there all day.
There'll be signs and people with vests leading you to park. And you can take your bike off that car unless your porter has it on their car and your support person has it on that car and is driving down to the pier. But many of our athletes, they just hop on the bike as a pleasant ride through the little village of Wellfleet down to the start area at Mayo Beach.
All right. We will have bike support there. Thanks to Wheelhouse Bikes over in Chatham. All right, so right into the bike course. You want to talk about this one?
Okay, can you back up a couple to the start area? A couple screens.
There you go.
All right, just what you're looking at in that circle is the Mayo Beach parking lot. There will be no athlete parking there. We try to keep that clear for bicycles and participants and packet pickup and what have you. You'll be starting there and you'll be heading to the right as you look at this on Kendrick Avenue. As you make that curve where the Wellfleet Pier is, Kendrick Avenue turns into Commercial Street. Just want to say that if any of you are going on to Google Maps and you want to look it through yourself, you'll be on Kendrick Street for only 100 yards, 150 yards, and you'll be making a left onto Holbrook Street and then heading up toward Main Street in Wellfleet. Now we can go back to the other. This map, as well as turn-by-turn directions, are in the athlete's guide. I won't go through every single one here, but I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards. Basically, you're working your way through the backside of Wellfleet. We would normally also be continuing on the backside, on the bay side there into Truro, except that the town of Truro is repairing a bridge. So they've diverted us, and this is this change has not will put you on a road that this race has not been on before. It's called Pammit Point Road. You'll take Pammit Point Road to Route 6. Route 6 has high-speed vehicles. We've got 4 officers, 2 from Wellfleet, 2 from Truro. We've got park service rangers that will be out there. The 2 Wellfleet officers will be handling that intersection where you'll be entering onto Route 6 and then entering into a bike lane for a very short period of time. I think it's
How long did they go through
less
there?
than a quarter of a mile before you veer off onto secondary roads again.
Without really,
Um, and the officers will have their blue lights flashing and everything else, but still, due to the nature of the fact that it is a main road and somewhat of a highway, please watch the officers carefully. And if for some reason they ask you to slow down or stop, please do. I don't expect it, but once again, it's a highway. And last year during one of our events, it wasn't this race, it was another race out in this area. There was a drunk driver zipping up the highway, and the cops grabbed him before he got near any of our athletes. So you have to understand this is the world that we live in, and we have to be careful, all of us, because this ride, for the most part, while we do have police support and we do have volunteers at critical intersections and critical turns, you have to follow the rules of the road. This is not an Ironman with a closed course. It's not like many of our other races where even though there might be a few vehicles on the road, you can just blow through everywhere, every intersection and what have you. Here you have to kind of take the mentality as if you're on a training ride, a fast training ride, but you're going to have to keep your eyes and ears open.
Competitive training ride.
Yeah. So you'll go up to Truro.
Wait, can we back up for a quick sec?
Yeah.
So when you, so Andy was talking about right here. Okay. So you'll come on, you'll get onto Route 6 on the highway. There'll be, as he said, police officers to protect you. And then, lost my cursor.
I'm
There we
not
are.
sure screen share shows the cursor.
Can you see my cursor? Anybody? Oh, right, like nod your head if you can. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Excellent. There you go. So, so you're on, as Andy was saying, you're on Route 6 for like a hot minute. You're going onto Rose Road, which leads to Collins. You're going to pass T1. So you're going to go past it. No support people may be on this road until after 7:45. It gives you guys all a chance to get through there without cars. So, so you'll go right past, if I make cursor, there we are. You'll go right past where you'll finish your bike later on, and then you'll go up and on. Then Andy will take it from there. But I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that, like, if first you look at it, you'll be like, oh, that doesn't look right. I think we finished there, but you're going past that. Don't let your support people. I have a note for them, but 7:45, please don't show up before then for the support people. Okay, yeah. Now your turn.
Well, after that short stretch of Route 6, you are on secondary roads for quite a while. And you will work your way through Truro into North Truro. At some point in North Truro, you'll suddenly be on a long, gradual downhill. It's just beautiful. You'll see the town of Village of Provincetown, the Provincetown Monument, the bay over here, the ocean over there. You'll know that you've only got 3 miles or so to the turnaround. The turnaround in Truro is just short of the congested, busy village, and it's at a hotel called the Harbor Hotel, which is our host hotel actually for the event. And you will be making a right turn into Harbor Hotel. We'll have staff there. Provincetown will have a police officer there. Of course, the police officer's job is to keep motor vehicle traffic away from you. He's not necessarily going to be watching you, or she's not going to be watching you. But our staff there, this is an area where we make sure we have staff and not just volunteers, will be guiding you into a U-turn in the Harbor Hotel parking lot and come back out, and you'll head down in the other direction, and you'll go through Truro. There are some variations as to how you'll go through Truro compared to when you went up toward Provincetown through Truro. It's slightly different. You can look at the Athlete's Guide to see that. And you will wind up, once you get on Collins Road, as we talked about, you'll be entering from the north. Your support person is supposed to enter from the south and should have entered in there before your expected arrival time. You can do the math, 27 miles is the bike course, and you can kind of make a good suggestion to your support person. Look, I want you there 10 minutes beforehand, so be sure you're at the transition area by this time. It is a tight spot where the transition is. Do we have a picture of the transition? Okay, I'll let you go there. So now we'll move into the getting rid of your bike and getting off on the run.
Right. I do want to know, Andy was talking about you're going to be on rural roads. You are on Route 6 again for a short amount of time. I think, what is that like? It's not very far.
Half mile at the most. Yeah.
Okay. So you are on just for a minute, you take the ramp on, but there's a bike lane there. That's the same. I think we've always done that because there's no other way of working.
Right. There's certain parts of Truro that have no way of going north or south without your being on the highway. Luckily, about 5 years or so ago, they widened the highway and they put in some pretty good sized bike lanes.
Yeah.
But they're not,
Sorry.
They're marked bike lanes, and we know the marked bike lanes aren't quite the same as a bike lane that might have concrete barriers. So please exercise caution.
But that's what we have, so be careful. Okay, so Andy was talking about that T1 and about your support person and what they do and so forth. So if you look at the bottom of the screen here, you guys are going the same path, right? So you're going to go right where this little arrow is in the very bottom. You get on Rose, and then you're going to go up Collins, and then you go off, right? When you're coming back is when is for T1. Your support people are going to follow that same route. They must come from the south because we don't want them to be interfering with you all on your bikes coming from the north. So they must come from the south. They're going to park on the right-hand side of the road on Collins. And it literally, they'll end up parking a bit farther down. So they should factor that into the time. If you say it's going to take this long for me to do these many miles, then they also need to factor in, it's going to take me 5 minutes to walk from my car to T1. So they should kind of work all of that out. So you can see the cyclists come through here. The support people are coming this way, and then they do a 10-point turn to get themselves back out the other way. We do have crew and staff, and
we'll have police there.
And usually they end up, the road is not closed to the public, but nobody else is on it. So you guys, the support people end up taking it over.
It's a road that was built by the Air Force in the 1960s for a top secret project out there, spying on the Russians.
Okay.
And so
Here we go.
It's very rarely traveled. There'll be a car here and there during the day, but not much.
So to the left, this is Dawn. Dawn might be on our call right now. She is the T1 captain. She's going to tell you what to do. Whatever she tells you, please do. There are porta potties that are there as well. There'll also be nutrition, Gatorade, and water. You can see in this little inset, this is, this athlete has come in, her support person is going to take her bike and has given her whatever it is that she needs to run with. So, her shoes, her cap, goggles, what have you. And then she's going to go into the woods. I'll show it to you on this one here. This is turned the other way. So she's going into the woods, going that way. So when I said that cars are parked all along there and make sure that your support person has time to get from their car, you can see how far back that goes. So it goes way back there. So just make sure they've got enough time to get up to the T1, and then Dawn or one of her crew will actually call your number out. So make sure that we're going to give you a running bib, which you don't have to wear the running bib. The idea is that you give it to your support person. It will be in your packet. You'll give it to your support person, and that way they remember what your bike number is. And then you get to keep it for posterity. So if they carry your bike number with them, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's the number. Cause Dawn doesn't know your name. She only knows your number. So she'll call out the number, and then you'll come forward and you'll take the bike and and get your athlete on the way. And then you can see here, this is actually where transition happens. You can see what a tight spot that is. We have the porta potties will sit over here. Athletes will be coming from this way. Your porters are coming from down here. So there's just a little tiny area. There's some bike racks there. So the athlete can just put the bike on the bike rack if they want to do that, or they can just hand it off to the support person. That's up to them. But either way, it's kind of a tight little area, and they tend to have a pretty good party going on there when you guys arrive. All right, next, ready?
Okay.
All right, and then here we are. We're in the
one of the charming aspects of this race is the fact that you are going to be running and swimming, running and swimming, running and swimming and running. And how the best to do it is a toughie, and we could discuss that a little bit in the question and answer format. But I also know that we try in every way to follow the regulations of the SOS event in New Paltz, and that spirit as well. So a lot of it is you've got to figure it out. You've got to practice, try something, decide the best way that you want to carry your equipment. How do you want to keep things dry or not? Do you keep your sneakers dry? Do you put them into something and seal it up? Do you swim with your sneakers, which is becoming more and more common? We won't go too much into that, but your first run is going to be the longest run. It's about 4 miles. It is cross country. If you think back to high school, you'll say, well, I don't even remember a cross country course quite like this. It's tough. But it's sandy surface. It's beautiful. It's very quiet. And you'll work your way to the top of Gull Pond. What you'll be looking for is small pink flags, and I should have brought one with me. They're at the shop, and they're not here at my house. But basically, if you think of those flags that sometimes a lawn company will put in saying that they've just sprayed, or that Dig Safe sticks in to show the line where an electric utility might be. It's those small
that
flags.
Size,
yeah, they're about
pink.
That size, and they're pink. Yes, very pink. As is the signs on the bike course. Now those signs are larger. They're 18 by 24, and we try to post 2 before every turn, so that perhaps 100 yards before the turn you see one sign, and then you see a next sign at the turn. And the same thing, we'll have straights, and anywhere where we think there might be a little bit of a question mark, we'll try to heavily sign it. But the pink signs, the little pink signs on the run, we have a lot of them. Dawn, actually, once again, is the one who wakes up at the crack of dawn and plants them all, and maybe collects them. I know she has some years. That will lead your way, along with the help of some volunteers at Critical Corners, to the Gull Pond swim. The first one's a half a mile, and you're going to be, your end destination will be very large, 7 feet high triangular buoy. Your interim destination, as you work way to those buoys, are round orange buoys. The kind you see at a lot of triathlons. The rule we have is that you need to leave the buoys on your right, and you need to be within 20 yards or so of that buoy. The reason here is just a safety one. We have lifeguards, we have kayak escorts, but we can't have them all over the pond because people are swimming off in what they feel is the best way of getting to the other end. So you've got to hit the intermediate orange buoys on your way to the yellow buoy. Excuse me. After the Gull Pond swim, you're going to be on pavement for a short while, about a mile, as you run down south. Once again, those little pink flags will be there. You'll wind up, this is where the course will be different from the prior 2 years we've had it. Excuse me, I've got to try. I'm going to take this. Um, the second swim is going to be in Long Pond. Long Pond in the prior SOS events has been the third swim. So you're going to be working your way gradually south, and we're going to swim Long Pond. It's the same direction as before. And it's also about a half a mile. And it's a dogleg right. So you do not see your final destination when you begin the swim. So you'll have to follow the orange buoys as you curve around and you work your way down toward the end there. After that swim, you're off on your third run.
Right. Oh, can I interrupt for a quick cut?
Yeah.
So for those of you that have done SOS with us before, you notice that this is different. So if you're just kind of half listening because you feel like you already know it, then listen to Andy, because Long Pond is no longer the last swim. As Andy just said, it's the second swim, and then Great Pond will be last. So
yeah,
I'm gonna make sure everyone's tuning in. Go ahead. I see Dr. Mike right there. I'm gonna make sure he's listening.
Okay. Coming out of the Long Pond, you're going to be on the fire trail for this entire run, number 3. It's a short one, which will bring you down to Great Pond. At Great Pond, all these ponds are what they call kettle ponds. They're formed by glaciers thousands of years ago. So they're quite deep, and also the banks around them tend to be quite deep. So Great Pond, you've got quite a stair climb to get down to the pond, and you also have that to come back up. We have tried every year we've had SOS to make the Great Pond swim a point-to-point swim, because that's really in the true nature of the SOS event. And we consistently get shut down, and alternative ponds we get shut down on. So the Great Pond swim is going to remind you of like doing a sprint distance triathlon. Oh, I got a triangle. I'll leave the buoys on my right, and I'll swim around them and come on in. Last year, we believe that the volunteer we may not have briefed her properly, and she told some athletes it was okay to leave their shoes on the beach since they were coming back to the same point. But the spirit of the SOS is such that you're supposed to carry your equipment with you, and we would like to ask you to please do that.
Right, there'll be nothing left on the beach while you're swimming or after.
Well, that sounds
just make
awfully
it clear.
definite.
Well, that is right. That's the spirit of SOS, is that it's point to point. So take your stuff with you. You've done it the first 2 ponds, you can do it for the third pond.
Run number 4 is along a path that's never been part of the SOS before. It is a trail of reasonable size. It's either part of it is fire jeep trail, and part of it is a walking path that's got a decent width to it. You will cross some power lines, and when you cross those power lines, you're underneath some power lines, so you got less than a mile to go. So you will pop out on Long Pond Road, quite close to Lawrence Road, which is where the finish line is, just 100 yards up. So this is different. In last year's SOS, you ran a mile entirely on paved surface to the finish line. In this case, it's really only going to be the last quarter mile or less that you will be on a paved surface up to the finish.
And that's it. Okay. So pink flags will be on your left. I think I saw Dawn come on. So if that is incorrect in any place, please let us know. But those pink flags that Andy was talking about, the little ones, like the little lawn signs, Dawn marks everything. So if there's any question of whether it's a turn or straight or anything else, she's got it marked before the turn, during the turn, after the turn. So, so as long as you're looking down, you're going to be good with that. As Andy mentioned, he's got pink signs on the bike. swim, buoys on the right. We've got lifeguards throughout. So I think that that covers.
This is part of the attraction, at least as far as I'm concerned, to this type of race. This is the thinking person's race, but that means you can't just put your head down and motor and get a little bit of brain fog. You've got to be paying attention as you run. There have been times when we've had very carefully marked corners, and yet 2 or 3 people just sort of kept motoring on down the path, straight down the path, and
had to turn around.
I wouldn't say it wrecked their race, but they afterwards they were like, I can't believe I did that. So
right. So just if you can just watch, and you'll be fine. All right. So the survivor line, we were talking before. This is Lawrence Road. So here's the school, and the survivor line is going to be right here. So as far as telling your support people, there is parking in the elementary school parking lot, and there's some spaces here as well. There should be enough room. So so support people. Once you've got your athlete's bike, you can head over to the finish line if you like. There's usually a festive atmosphere going on there. All right, time cutoffs. They're a little different than last year, so please note that. Your bike finish when you get to T1 should be 9:15 or earlier. That first swim is 10:15 at the entrance of Gull Pond, and then the entrance along pond is the second swim. That's an 11:15 cutoff. Those are sharp cutoffs. Okay. And then here, I'm gonna one last time for the athlete's guide, and then I'll take the screen share off. But if you have not been to the athlete's guide, or you have not been there within the last day or so, and we've made just a couple little updates, then please go to that now. It is your responsibility to know what's on the athlete's guide. All right, so give everyone the chance.
Okay. I'm running down the notes here to make sure we didn't miss anything. We're going to go with 3 waves for this race. They'll leave about 2 minutes apart. This is for the bike start. Of course, the first few hundred yards, everybody's going to be clumped up, but we do ask you to follow rules as if you're in a triathlon, where you've got to leave the appropriate distance between you and the bicycle in front of you. And I think we decided it was going to be a male wave is going to start, a female wave is going to be the second one, and a male will be the third.
Right. So it will be 49 male, 49 and under will be the first wave, all women, and then men 50 plus will be the second wave. They'll be 2 minutes apart. So you have just a little bit of time, so that way everyone doesn't get completely clumped together.
Yeah, it looks like drafting will be a 2-minute penalty, just FYI there.
Right, and we do have people on the course, so we have unfortunately had to give penalties for drafting. So please be aware of that. Yeah. All right, do you want to answer questions?
Yeah, in a minute. Water temperatures, we got one about a week ago at 67. We went back out there this weekend and we got 68. And when I say 67, 68, we were talking about being 68 feet out. And actually the thermometer's dangling several feet below the surface. We did notice in swimming in all the ponds that sometimes in the middle, you'll hit a little bit of a cooler streak, could be near where the spring is feeding it. So what we were thinking is maybe we would say, looks like we're in the 66 to 68 range. I kind of expected it to creep up a little bit more to 69 or 70, but we've just had a bit of a front move through. It's now 59 degrees, I think 57 outside, and it's probably going to stay that way for a couple of days. So I don't know if the water will get much warmer. I think we're looking at a situation where the water is going to be about the same temperature as the air.
Yeah, but it's nice. It's pretty comfortable.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead.
Swim, once again, we have kayaker spotters and we have certified lifeguards out there. The lifeguards usually have orange, they're on rescue boards. In distress, hands straight up, please. Just get it up as high as you can. We appreciate
just look
that.
at us. That's usually enough. I'm really paying
attention. Last thing I wanted to say was, support people. Please stay off the dirt roads with your vehicles. Yes, there are some dirt roads that go in along the areas where the athletes are running, but this is a promise we made to the town and to the Cape Cod National Seashore, and we'd appreciate your assistance in making that work. The last thing I wanted to say, and this was just because we had our kind of our staff of 5 or 6 key people. We were meeting, actually working all day today, getting ready for this race. And we did a little bit of math and we realized that, at most triathlons, the ratio of staff and volunteers to the athletes, or athletes to staff and volunteers might be 10-1 or something along those lines. On Saturday, and this is also true in New York because I've witnessed it firsthand, the ratio is going to be 1 staff member or safety personnel or volunteer for each 1 racer, 1-to-1. So they're all going to work hard, and we appreciate your understanding. It is a difficult race. It's a lot of territory that you guys are going to be covering. And we're going to do our best to give you a great day on Saturday. Yeah. Someone wants to come in.
There we go. Oops. There we go. It's all right. Poor Andy. So we're looking forward to this race. There are a lot of people that are giving up time to be there to help you. We've got a lot of volunteers. A lot of our staff comes out for this. So we're super excited. I hope that you guys are too. So there's some questions that I see in the chat. We didn't cover nutrition, so thank you, Dave, for asking. The nutrition on the run swim course is there are orange Gatorade will be out there. Obviously water, and I had my note, and Andy, I bet you have it too. Oh, there we are. It's goo. We have goo, Cliff Shots, and Cliff Blocks. So, and then we have water. So we usually do either the entrance or the exit's going to have nutrition and water, and then the other entrance or exit of the swim will have Gatorade and water. So if you see nutrition there and you think, I kind of need it, then go ahead and eat it, eat it at that time. Because you won't see it again to the next swim.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Someone asked if the details, such as how a support person enters transition, is it noted in the packet? Well, it is in the actual packet that I will receive.
Right. So the packet, the packet will have that, what you guys saw when I had like that green picture, and it had like all the little diagram about porters come through here and all of that. That exact thing is going to be in your packet for pickup. Also a map, so your bike map and your run map, just so you have an extra chance to look at it before you go to bed. And also so your porters have it, just so that they have kind of an idea of where you're going to be.
Okay.
Does that work?
There's a question about the elevation of the bike course. Because this is a course that has been changed twice in the recent over the last month or so, because of our consultation with the town officials and the DPW and what they're doing and everything. We don't have a Garmin file of this. I do have a generated bike elevation that was generated out of Map My Ride. I'd be happy to take that and put that into the athlete's guide tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So you can look at it.
Same question for the run.
Yeah. I'm not sure. If
that's a little more problematic. That's a little harder because the Map My Ride doesn't have all of the paths that you guys would be on in the run.
Yeah. I mean, Cape Cod has surprisingly rugged terrain, but they tend to be short, steep hills. It's not like if you're racing in New Hampshire or, in the Shawangunks, where you've kind of got these real challenges ahead of you at times, not the least of which is even getting up to the top of the Fire Tower Hill from the hotel. But so it's not that crazy, but we'll see what kind of information we can get out there. There was a group from our triathlon club who did the bike course over the last weekend. I can ask them if they got a file or something we can put out there, and we'll look into that. How well marked is the bike route? It's pretty well marked, but we do realize that sometimes, you got a lot going on. Maybe you're distracted by a motorist that you're just kind of keeping an eye on, and you don't see the sign on the side. That's why we try to have a couple of signs at every turn. And of course, at important turns, we have volunteers and/or police.
Right, and they're pink signs. They're hot. They're like hot pink. So, so that should stand out for you. Scott asked how the race starts. So, this is a good time to ask that question. So we start with a bike. So we have the 3 bike waves, 49 and under male, all the females, and then 50 plus males, 2 minutes apart. So everyone you kind of start off in a clump, and then you find your space. And then you'll start the run swim after T1. I just want to give a big shout out to Dave Dammer, who is like asking questions and answering questions and looking at the athlete's guide. Thanks so much, Dan. Or Dave, sorry. Thanks so much, Dave.
How about the question about how the race starts?
I just did that.
You did?
It starts with a bike. There you go.
So it will be, we're hoping that Don Davis, who in the last 2 races has been our starter, will agree to be our starter again. And basically when he says go or blows the horn,
That's right.
I mean, you'll have time to assemble and everybody gets together. And, once again, one of the things we really appreciate about the spirit of this sort of race is that there's, generally speaking, there aren't any people who are going to cut you off to get a few yards on you. The camaraderie is great, and and people are.
We're always at the start. We don't see what happens once you guys turn the corner, but we don't think so.
Well, considering we have a lot of friends who are they're looking to beat someone up on the swim. I don't see that.
That's true. That's true. Very, very nice athletes. You guys are all wonderful. Lori Watkins, I'll answer you separately. Any water fluid stations, I think we covered. Oh, at T1, thank you for asking T1. Yes, you'll have nutrition, there'll be water, and there'll be Gatorade before you start your run. And anything that reminds me that if you bring anything with you on the run, some people are like, oh, I just want to take a little goo and I'm going to eat it as I go. No problem, but please keep it in your, in a pouch or keep it somewhere and then throw it out when you get to the first swim. There'll be a garbage can there, but there's no garbage anywhere within the National Seashore, and we like to keep it that way. Yeah,
they're at the start and the end of the swim, there is a trash barrel, and Kathleen will probably become angry for my suggesting that you bring a single-use water bottle with you on the first leg of the run. But that's what I would do. And then I just throw it into the trash barrel after 4 miles. So I had something to sip on and not have to stand there at the water's edge and chug my water.
That's it. Well, all right. So there's a point. So if you're going to bring a water bottle, then you have to carry it for 4 miles. So think of that, but leave it, don't throw it in the garbage there. Just leave it on the table and I'll recycle it. Okay. So, all right. So Elizabeth was asking about where can support people watch a T1. If you go to Long Pond, there's a parking lot there, and it's not, there's no charge for it right now. During the season, Wellfleet, you won't be able to get in, but right now we're still outside the season. You can park in that parking lot and then just walk down to Long Pond. You'll be able to see the finish there. It would be hard to see the start of Long Pond because that's like a bit up the road, and the road kind of turns and
be careful if you are walking on the road. Yes, it is possible to walk to the west end of Long Pond and take a look. It's a relatively short walk, but
it's just twisting.
Just be careful. Once again, most everybody, vacationers or local people heading out surfing, are kind of careful on that road, but you never know. So
right, and usually the police and the fire chief are kind of they like to hang out in that area. So I think that was it last year? Was it for SOS or was it for Wellfleet that somebody went cruising past and they went and chased them down? So like a car. So they take it very seriously. So if you're parking there, your support person will want to put in their GPS Long Pond parking lot. Otherwise, it brings you to a different part of Long Pond. That isn't where we're going to be. They can park their car and then they can walk down to the beach. That's a nice spot. They get to see you. And then your athletes, you'll go on to Great Pond, which will give your support person enough time to get back in the car and get over to the finish line before you finish. So that's probably your best bet to be able to see people.
That probably makes sense. I think the most. Thank you, whoever suggested. I feel better, and that brings me to something I just want to mention. I'm coughing. I'm coughing because of the pollen, which is started less than a week ago, and it is just coming down like crazy outside. I don't know if that will still be happening on race day, but I just,
it's better than it was. It was like over the weekend, it was like really, it was like clouds of pollen. And so it seems like it's dying down, but if you have allergies, keep that in mind.
And while also we're talking about things that are in the air, those of you who raced in September, our sympathies for the
September,
the mosquitoes. It was the worst year Wellfleet's ever had on record, and state, local, federal agencies have been working like mad over the winter and the spring, clearing the areas where the mosquitoes breed and draining water and that sort of thing. We've
been out there on the trails and everything and not a bite. Yeah. So no mosquitoes. So all of that long to say no mosquitoes. You don't have to worry about
weekends we've been there and we've yet to have a bite.
Right. Okay. So we don't have to worry about it. So there's Peter mentioned that a Great Pond has good parking. The problem is once you swim that, then your support person needs to like but needs to get over to the survivor line a little bit faster, and that might be tight for some to be able to make that in time. Lori asked about the wind. It hasn't been a problem. Any other questions that I'm missing? Anyone has any more questions? Go ahead and throw it in now.
What was the last question?
Lori Watkins was asking about wind, but wait, I haven't noticed anything there as an issue. On the bike. I guess that. Thank you for clarifying.
We apparently, looking at the weather, it's not going to be a situation this year, but we've set the rule, so we need to stay with the rule. At times, the crosswinds up in the highlands of Truro can be quite strong, and they come straight across. And people who have raced Kona have said, it's reminiscent of that on a blustery day. So because of that, we have a no disc rear wheel policy for safety. Looking at the long range weather forecasts, it's supposed to be a sunny day with 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. But you never know. We set the rule. We really should stay with it. And so it's okay. You don't lose that much speed.
Okay. So there's some question.
And then on wind on the ponds, Gull Pond is the only pond that will sometimes get some wind. If we get the other two are deep enough settled so that the wind just kind of goes right over.
I shouldn't say that Long Pond. We end it with wind on Long Pond.
I've never seen wind on Long Pond.
Oh, talk to Scott. So, but Great Pond doesn't have.
Well, we had a thunderstorm last year thunderstorm. We had a heavy rainstorm during the race.
That's true. Yeah,
that created some wind.
All right. So anyway, hopefully that kind of sort of answers your question, Lauren. Sorry between the two of us. Peter, let's see. Stefano, you had asked about race kit. You can unzip your kit if you in your run. That's no problem. Some guys will be without shirts. That's up to you. It hasn't been a big issue. No one has complained either way. So. All right. Any other questions? Can you go over the cutoffs again? Sure, Tammy. We have the first cutoff at 9:15, and that's T1. The second cutoff is at 10:15, and that's the entrance to the first pond. That's Gull Pond. And then the 11:15 cutoff is at the entrance of Long Pond.
Did you answer the one about running without a shirt?
Yeah. Yeah, I just said.
Oh, sorry, I missed out. I was reading the things. So what was your answer?
I said, sure.
Yeah, USAT doesn't mind. They only mind when it's the elite athletes at ITU events. But yeah.
Yeah, the
You're
Ironman
fine.
doesn't like you, but
Oh yeah,
doesn't
Ironman.
either. So,
Well,
but we're not Ironman, so that works for us.
yeah,
Um,
they chew up triathletes and spit them away.
All right,
So-
there you go. So, so Patricia was asking about post-race party and food. Oh, thank you for mentioning that. I kind of skipped right over that, didn't we? So earlier we were talking about trailside dining, and that's where you'll pick up your packet from 4 to 6 on Friday, and then Lori might be on, and she can remind me of the time. Is it 10:15 or 10:30?
No,
Trailside
no.
opens.
It's more like 11. I'm positive. Of that.
Okay, no problem.
But
It's in the athlete's guide though, but we do have, thank you very much, Lori, 11 to 2 at Trailside Dining. So come on in and you can get some food. They've got an area outside that you can sit as well. And we'll do awards there at 1 p.m.
Lori, what's on the menu? My recollection is we've got burgers, we've got chicken, we've got salad and
We have beer and wine. Right.
Yes.
So everyone gets one beer or a wine ticket. Yes, Peter, most importantly, beer and wine. And then of course there'll be soft drinks and water. Thank you, Lori. Hamburger, grilled chicken, salad, beer, wine, soft drinks, cookies. That's the other important thing.
Yeah. You eat,
veggie burgers.
You eat for free. Your support person eats for free. We have meal tickets that you can buy on the website or right there. And just want to bring this up in case someone in your family or one of your friends might have an interest. If someone would like to be out there on the race course at some part of the race course and be a volunteer and assist with putting on the race, we're happy to buy them a meal and a beer at the end of the
right. We'll put them to work and give them food and a beer. So so if you'll let Lori know, Lori's been writing in the chat, and I'll give you her email. And that way I'm putting that in the chat too. And then the last question about results. Oops, can't spell.
Yeah, the TV's in the truck.
Right.
Already.
So there'll be a screen when you finish finish the race, and then we'll post to our website. We'll also post on like Facebook. And sorry about that. I went to post to everybody. Let me give everybody the, Lori is, sorry, having a little trouble with the chat today. There we go. USAT reminder. Yes, Lori reminded us again that USAT, you have to have your USAT number before. So either go ahead and renew beforehand and then make sure to save that email. So that way you can show us at packet pickup if you've done it after registration is closed, or just follow the link. If you do it before tomorrow at noon, that's before I pull all the information from everyone, all the athlete information. So I'll have it in there. If you wait till after that, make sure to print out or show us on your phone that that you have your USAT numbers all set. All right. So Lori's email is in the chat. If anyone either has a family member that wants something to do during the race, we love volunteers. They do get free food. And then the USAT numbers. If you have a question about that, then Lori can answer that. But please look through your emails first, because I'm sure that you've received a reminder to renew or get a USAT number probably a couple of times. So check your junk mail.
Yeah, depending on what still remains to be done, hopefully not much during packet pickup. I hope to be there to, talk to you one-on-one if anybody has any questions or is wondering about something, or possibly Lori might be able to. I'm not sure.
I'll be there.
Yes, but I'm talking about the course. Yes, they can talk to you about everything else, but don't ask her what's the name of a street that the race is
I
on.
know most streets. Andy's the course man. So
okay.
Yeah, and we have maps. Don't worry about it. You can ask away. All right. Anyone have any other questions? Yes, we are super excited for all of you guys to come. So I hope that everyone's all set with their travel plans. We will see you Friday night, and then Saturday morning. Remember the transition. Your race start opens at 6 a.m. at Mayo Beach. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you all. We'll see you soon.